A lot of that information, if you're not in academia, can cost hundreds or thousands of dollars to get access to the journals. Do you have any comment about that?
Oh yes. So yeah, I'm all in favor of open source journals and things like the Public Library of Science. That there is information that's accessible. Then there's also things like, you can read Larry's blog and get science there. There's lots of scientists now that are becoming more activist in public outreach and doing their best to translate. But in the long run, what it will take is changes in policy. That what you need to have is a way for your government to enforce the public release of science to the population at large. And to do things like, like in grants down in the United States, you have to write a section where you justify your work and explain your work in terms that the general public can understand. Little things like that will add up eventually. But of course, what we really need to do is improve public education so that people are prepared to understand this stuff. A real problem is that many creationists, for instance, you can show them all this evidence and their brains are not able to accept this, and they just simply shut down when they see it. So that's another problem. Even if they've got it available to them, will they be able to comprehend it?
I have a mild criticism and a suggestion. Well, firstly, welcome to Canada from the land of son of a bush. And I would really suggest that the sort of saying that we've got all these legal precedents on our side, and then you say that they are going after the popular culture. Why wouldn't you just come out and say they are going after power and politics is their route?
Yes.
I mean, basically, if they get the power and the power appoints the judges, you are lost. That's the direct link. So I think you should come out and say that, which you somehow euphemistically say popular culture and leave it for people to figure out what it means. So I just wanted to add that.
Yes, we just have this illusion that we live in a democracy where the popular culture will shape the government. And so they're going at it that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, okay, I just wanted to add that.
Okay.
Okay. The suggestion is, firstly, I must tell you, I'm an engineer and I'm biologically challenged. But even then, with my little biology I learned evolution quite clearly. I never realized how significant that learning was till these things came up. Why can't universities have a line or two about evolution when they award the degrees or something to that effect?
When they are what?
When they award the degrees, science degrees, especially in the Faculty of Science, and have a line about evolution.
Yes, I just have a little problem with signing a loyalty oath to evolution. That what we want is we want to have graduates of our graduate programs who understand the evidence behind evolution, but at the same time are perfectly free and willing to challenge it. That's what science is all about, of course.
I agree.
Yeah. So it's a little tricky to have something that's.
But some statement which will, I don't know how to word it. Obviously, some thought needs to be given. But certainly we would like...
I'm just afraid it would turn into something like I pledge allegiance to Charles Darwin, etc. That would be antithetical to...
No, I agree with that there too. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, PZ. Great lecture. My question is based on your comments about how creationism is losing in the classroom but is winning in the culture war, and on advocacy and on militant atheists. My question is, what do you think about militant atheists that might be a little bit higher on the militancy scale than yourself, say? Folks like the Rational Response Squad, Pat Condell, the Amazing Atheists. Well, first, have you heard of these people? And secondly, what do you think about them? And thirdly, when would militant atheisty or advocacy ever make you wince? Or when do you think it would ever be unproductive?
Oh, well, that one's easy. If it stooped to violence, if it actually hurt people. All these militant groups you mentioned, what do? They talk. You know, that little cartoon I showed earlier, the guy walking out and being accused of being militant because he wouldn't participate in a prayer. That's a perfect example of this kind of inflation of what militant actually means. You know, when you get to know me, you discover I'm this mild-mannered, quiet professor type. And it's the same for people like the guys in the Rational Response Squad who are, all they're doing is getting on the internet and talking. That's become the benchmark for militancy. And isn't that absurd that we can be damned for being too militant just because we speak our minds?
Thanks.
Yeah.
I need to start this, just so my question is not misunderstood. I was raised in a non-religious household. I've been an atheist basically my entire life. When you talk, you didn't seem to be making a distinction between religion and God. In my mind, there's always been, I do have a problem with religion. I have a problem because of the dogma. And it's the critical thinking skills that people seem to be missing. And that seems to be what the problem is. But I don't have a problem with people believing in a God. And to me, it's always been that definition of what God is. There's that Catholic God, and there's the gods of what other people call it. But there are many things that we can disprove. In many of those sacred books, what they're saying, we can say, well, obviously this has not happened. But we cannot say there is no God. I don't believe in a God, but I cannot tell someone else that that does not exist. And I think if we tell people, I feel uncomfortable saying to someone else, there is no God, even though that's not what I believe, because I think that takes a lot away from them. I think if we were to say, this is what, okay, obviously anything that happened in the Bible, or the things that we can say that are in the Bible, they do not exist, and these are ridiculous stories. That dogma, we should take dogma out and be teaching critical thinking skills. But I don't think we should be going so far as to saying there is no God.
I will disagree. Okay, because just as a pragmatic issue, if you have gone through and examined the evidence, and if you've looked at a religion and a set of religious beliefs, and you've whittled away and dismissed just about everything they've got, and all they've got left is this vague hope that there is a supreme being somewhere, then I think it's being too deferential to stop there and say, well, I can't say there is no God. Because what you've really done is if you've done this right, you've demolished the bulk of their religious belief, and all you've left is this tiny little last sliver, this little refuge for them to cower in. Why not just go the rest of the way and say, well, I don't think there's any reason to believe in a God, and therefore I'm going to make the conclusion that there is no God.
Well, therefore, I'm picking out your words. You're saying, I think. So if we're going to go at it at a scientific view, we can say there is no evidence for. But if there are many people, and those people are generally ones that don't have the education or thinking skills to go to that point, who need that. And if they do need that, I mean, I'm just trying to go not from one extreme to the other, only because I've just trying to give them a
It's just, I know from experience that people will seize upon that moment of hesitancy to say that, well, okay, you actually believe deep down, when within me there's not a single shred of belief.
And that's true, and I don't have a problem with someone else that believes that, though.
Yeah, so, and I think we do ourselves no favor if we waffle on our explanations. That we should be bold and we should say there is no God, and if you've got further evidence, or if you've got a better explanation, then you can tell me. And that's where I would put it.
Are you not comfortable with just saying we don't know?
Am I comfortable saying, well, yeah, no, I'm not comfortable with that. I think it's showing too much hesitancy in the face of what is ultimately a rather silly idea.
I agree with you. I'm okay to say I don't know.
I know. It's a difficult thing, and people with scientific training know this, that when you write a paper, you're so cautious, and you use lots of mays and maybes and these sorts of things. But when you're talking to people one-on-one,
oh, one-on-one's a different story.
Yeah.
There's something that needs to be said here. Anybody's free to believe in any nonsense that they want, but they're not free to try to impose it on other people.
Yes.
Right?
And we're also free to say their nonsense is nonsense.